Hey everyone, it's Julian, and today I wanted to make a different type of video. Of course, we have SVO coming up in a couple of days. That is going to be at Shadowverse's first big official tournament, and I wanted to do a video on how to prepare for tournaments and sort of how I prepare for tournaments because I think it would help a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of new people playing in these tournaments. This is going to be one of the biggest Shadowverse tournaments almost ever, at least in the West here. Both of the time slots have 1,000 people with a big wait list. So there's going to be a lot of new players signing up and playing, and I'm really excited for them. And it's just going to be a fun time. And I wanted to sort of give you guys my preparation and how I prepare for a lot of these tournaments. And this can be a broader thing because I do a lot of these things as well with other games like One Piece. And yeah, I thought this would be a hopefully helpful video for you guys that are either trying to get into tournaments or are already in this tournament that's coming up in a few days. Before we do, I will be having a channel update at the end of this video. Nothing like too important, but if you guys want to stick around and see what's going on the channel here soon, that would be pretty good. So we're going to get into it here. And I think first things first, we're going to talk about the day of, what you want to do the day of. Obviously, the obvious things, right? You want to eat a little bit. You want to definitely stay hydrated. That's something that I really try to do, is just drink a ton of water, I think that's really important. Another thing is making sure you wake up in time, right? Yeah, because sometimes, these things can be really early in the day for your time zone. I know for me, I've been playing in SVOs basically every month since 2019 when I started Shadowverse, beginning of 2019. And then they moved to sort of every 3 months. But I barely missed any SVOs, and I would, do them. And they start at like 8 for me, 7 actually sometimes. So, make sure you don't, miss your time to get up. But also on the day of, is for me, and this might not happen to a lot of people, but it might be sort of a type of thing that happens, is for me recently, especially for One Piece tournaments, I get a lot of really bad stomach aches when I'm playing, like on the day of. And I think that has a lot to do with stress. And I think that for that, I would just say, if you guys are experiencing any type of like stress related things, it's really important to remember that this is a game. And it's also a really stupid RNG game. When it comes down to it, this game is basically 50% luck, maybe a little bit more. And you can do as best as you can and still lose because your opponent drew better or you drew worse. And you really, one thing that I've been able to sort of unlock, I feel like, recently, is the ability to just separate and just go, hey, it's not me, it was the game, A lot of times before, I would say maybe the past couple years, I would get really mad at this game and it wasn't good. I would get really upset, really angry when I'd lose or whatever. And you just kind of have to learn to separate, detach from, hey, I really want to do well in this tournament. I really want to prove myself. I think I can do well. But it's really good to feel like you're coming into a tournament, and whatever the result, feel like, hey, I prepared the best I could, and it's just the luck of the draw, right? So that takes us into how do you prepare well, right? So I'm going to show you guys some of the decks that I've set up. So when you sign up, you're going to get this option in the tournament mode here for the official tournaments, and you'll click here, and it'll show you, the 2 tournaments for me that I'm signed up for. I'm signed up for both time slots. And I'll just show you the decks I have registered right now. These aren't necessarily going to be the decks I'm going to run with. And also, all of the decks are open deck lists, right? So these aren't necessarily the decks I'm going to run with, but these are just ones I put in there in case I, for some reason, miss registration or whatever, because it does close in soon here. But obviously, I went with Sword, because Sword is just, probably my most comfortable class, and that is a very important thing, is choosing something you're comfortable with, not necessarily the best deck. Because a lot of times in Shadowverse, there's a big trend in Shadowverse of the best decks being very high rolly, right? So I would say Rune right now is one of the best decks. I might end up playing Rune, Spell Boost, I'm more mean, right? But if you're not comfortable with sort of putting all your eggs in, like, hey, it's a lot of luck, there's not a lot of control I have, then you might want to choose something you are more comfortable with. The next thing to talk about is the fact that Shadowverse Worlds Beyond is a new format. It's 2-deck best of 1, which is really interesting because it's a completely new format for even the JP side of things. JP has always done 2-deck 0 ban, so it was best of 3, but you had to win with both of your decks. And then out here on the West, we always did 3-deck 1 ban, which was a very strategic. I really liked 3-deck 1 ban. But now we have 2-deck best of 1, which means you choose one of your decks to play when you see your opponent's 2 decks. So it's a completely new thing, so there's going to be a lot of strategy that you have to come up with. Like, there's no reference to how to, like, properly prepare for a format like that. So I'm just going to give you guys my thoughts and my initial, like, thinking about how to do a format like that. So what I was thinking was either you go one deck that's your, like, main. So I would say, like, Sword, right, is my main. I want to be playing that most of the day. And then you go one deck that you're not necessarily want to play a ton, but you kind of want to show it so that your opponent doesn't pick certain decks that counter Sword, right? So here's a great example. I personally don't agree with this thing I'm about to say, this matchup specifically, but a lot of people say that Roach beats Sword. So let's just say that that is fact. Roach beats Sword, right? What Roach does not beat is Wardhaven, right? So if you could theoretically construct a lineup of Sword and Wardhaven and be like, I just want to play Sword the whole day, and I'm going to show Wardhaven. If they ever have Forest, I just either go into Wardhaven or I just stay with Sword because I think they're going to switch to the other deck and not play Roach, right? So stuff like that. That's sort of my one. That's like path 1, right? Path 2, which is sort of where I'm at right now with Puppets and Sword, is just play 2 decks that have very similar matchups and very similar play styles so that you don't have to keep swapping between the different play styles, but it's more just like, hey, I'm going to mostly be playing Sword, but here's a couple matchups where I think Puppet's better, so I just go Puppets, but they're very similar play styles, so I don't have to, like, change completely like I'm actually playing 2 decks, if that makes sense, right? So, like, because one of the downsides is if you pick 2 decks that you feel like you're going to have to play a lot, equally the whole day, you really have to know both of those decks, right? And then I would say the third path is just playing the 2 best decks. I would say the 2 best decks right now are Rune and Sword. I am kind of thinking about doing Rune and Sword. We will be streaming later today. If you guys are watching this on release, I will be talking about the decks I'm going to be playing and testing a bunch of other decks kind of last minute. And yeah, so those are the 2 deck best of 1. And how do you prepare those? So let's just say, okay, you chose your path, you chose your deck, and this will be easier once we're done with the first SVO, because me and I'm sure a lot of other people will sort of come out and go, hey, here's what worked for me and here's what didn't work, right? I went with path whatever, and this didn't work for me because of yada yada, or this did work for me because of yada yada, right? So next SVO, it'll be way easier to choose your decks because there'll probably be a sort of cemented, like, strategy to pick your decks and pick your lineup. So once you pick your lineup, right, how do you actually go about preparing? And this is something really important that I think is something that I've learned, especially learning One Piece. So One Piece was sort of one of the other card games I got really into competitively a couple years ago. Obviously, I played Shadowverse for a very long time, and I played Shadowverse Evolved, the physical game, for a while as well on release. But I really wanted another physical game because I really loved playing the physical game of Shadowverse Evolved, even though there was, like, no one around that played it, right? And so something that really helped me in One Piece and a realization I had is, of course, in One Piece, there's this, like, simulator you can play, which is, kind of similar to just, like, queuing online, right, on Shadowverse, and if you hop in the stream, you guys will know, I say this a lot, but there's a limit to how much you can play and get better by just grinding games online. So what I mean by that is sometimes you have hit your peak by just clicking Q and grinding. And you have to get out of the game and either watch replays, talk to your friends, talk to other people, watch other stuff, and not play a ton. And I think that if you just sit there and just grind ladder, it can be a detriment because you can get too into your head. That happens to me sometimes. I'll be grinding ladder and I'll be like, dang, man, this card just feels terrible here. But in reality and in other practice and on paper, this card should be good, right? And that's just like an example, but I think that it's very important to, of course, I always preach watching your replays. Watching one of my first replays when I started Shadowverse was really how I kind of unlocked like my first level of Shadowverse, right? Is I was playing a game and I was like, man, I really feel like I should have been able to win here. So I went and watched a replay and I knew immediately, oh man, I should have played this instead of this because I know he's playing this the next turn. And that was like my first step of like, okay, I feel like I've gotten one step closer to being better at the game, and I really think replays are really important. It's so easy to just do, you just go, replays, and just click whatever, right? You just watch any of your replays recently. So I really like that. And then another thing, and this is hard, and I personally know that this is not like something that's easy to do, but it's really helpful when you have someone to practice with. For me, for a really long time, I was the only person I knew that played Shadowverse, so a lot of my, I guess I don't want to call it like skill, but my understanding of the game came from just grinding, and that's kind of why I say don't do that, because I think it is detrimental. It took me a really long time for me to get to the spot that I'm at now, and even then, like I wouldn't say I'm like the best Shadowverse player of all time or anything, but it really helps if you have someone to play with, and that's what I had in One Piece. And I'm comparing my One Piece journey with my Shadowverse journey because I feel like I got really good at One Piece very fast, whereas Shadowverse, it took me a while because I was by myself. I had no like strategy on how to get better, right? So this kind of turned into like how to get better at the game video. I do want to do that at some point, but we are talking about how to prepare, right? How to prepare your deck. So having someone to play with and test your specific decks with is really important and really good. And if you guys do not have that, we do have a Discord. I will be linking it. There's a lot of really cool people in the Discord that I'm sure would love to play with you guys. If you are new to the game or new to the competitive scene, hop in the Discord. There's a lot of people there. I could play with you guys too. I'm going to be planning some sort of like testing thing. I'd love to involve like everyone in the Discord. That'll probably be later. That'll be after this series of tournaments, but I do want to do something like that. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So if you guys are looking for like-minded people, competitive-minded people, hop in the Discord. I'm sure we can get you hooked up, right? But I know for me, it was really hard to find, people to play with, and I didn't really. I just played by myself. I did join a team at one point, and that's a whole, side story, right? But yeah, so that I would say that's how you would prepare for your decks, right? You chose your decks. Now, how do you prepare them? You go play a little bit of ladder, right? I want you guys to play a little bit of ladder, but mostly I want you guys to watch your replays, try to focus on what you could have done better with hindsight, because I think that is an interesting thing with replay. Is you can go, well, the next turn he did this, right? So what could I have done last turn to prevent that, right? And then, of course, playing with your friends with the focus of figuring out the best plays on each turn and stuff like that. Not necessarily to win, but just trying to figure out what is good, what is the, what is, how do I build this deck? Hey, I want to try this new card for this matchup, yada, yada, right? So yeah, I think that is pretty much going to be the video. That was how to prepare for tournaments. Kind of went a little into like how to get better at the game, but I do want to do a topic like that soon. But I did just want to upload this video, try to make a video like this because we're getting our first big tournament here soon, and I think it's a very important topic, is how to prepare for it. But I would say, day of, make sure you wake up, drink some water, eat a little bit, try not to be so invested, try to just detach a little bit. It is a random game, it is an RNG, card game. You will lose some games purely because of RNG. And just try not to focus too much on that like I used to do. I just used to be so like, oh man, this, because I, got unlucky or whatever, right? And then before then, though, you want to make sure you choose your decks. I told you guys about the 3 paths to take, right? That with the 2 deck best of 1 that are in my head right now, at least. And then, yeah, I hope this video helped you guys. And if it did, it'd be great if you could like and subscribe and comment if you guys, have any questions or anything like that, because I'd love to, answer any questions or anything that maybe I missed, or if you guys are sort of seasoned tournament players in other card games, let me know how you guys prepare. I think that would help a lot of people in the comments as well. If you have like a routine or whatever, I think that would really help a lot of people. But yeah, that is the video. Now I want to go into sort of the channel update. So, we just hit about like 1,300 subscribers, which is so awesome. We are growing really, really well. It's really awesome to see all of the videos take off, and I'm really happy that people are finding, stuff in my videos to like, and, it's very cool. Same with the stream. So we did set up the YouTube membership. That will be active probably on this video. We're going to be having an emote, a very funny emote that my good friend Steven made. It's me doing the face with the toe sucker reveal, right? If you guys were in the stream for that, you guys will know. I think it's a very funny emote. It's already in the Discord as well. And of course, I will be linking the Discord. The Discord is completely like free. You don't have to be a member or whatever to join the Discord. But what will you get with the membership, right? I just want to talk about that. Number one, completely optional. This is not like, this is just, hey, I like what you're doing. I want to support you a little bit. It's not required at all. I'm going to keep making the same content, try to do my best making the same content no matter how many, memberships or subscribers or whatever we have, because I just really enjoy doing these videos. But if you guys do want to support me, the $2 tier is going to be for emotes and some other membership stuff. Like I think your comment is going to be highlighted on my videos. And of course, it'll have your little like icon on the videos and in the channel and everything. So that's just going to be sort of the tier of like, hey, I want to support you. I like what you're doing, that kind of stuff. The $5 tier is the same stuff as that. But each month I will be doing a very in-depth guide on sort of a deck of my choice of, I will try to make it like as meta as possible, but I want it to be as informative as possible. So it will be a deck that I'm just really comfortable with and I feel like really good at. So it might not be like the best deck in the format, but when I mean in depth, I mean like hour and a half plus of talking about the decks, talking about every card you could play, talking about the deck list, talking about different types of deck lists, watching replays, and I might even try to do some sort of doc or something, so some sort of like notes to like update and stuff on the deck. But I really want to do that. I think that would be a lot of fun, and I hope that would help a lot of people out. There will be no, like, that will be the only membership-only video. I may do some sort of membership polls and stuff like that. But other than that, I don't want membership to be too big of a thing on my channel. If you want to support, if you want to come out and, say, hey, I like your videos, that this is the best way to do it. You can do the $2 tier and get some emotes. We will also add some more emotes. I only have one right now because it was kind of glitchy. I couldn't add a ton of emotes. And then the $5 tier, if you guys want that in-depth guide once a month. Obviously, it's almost the end of July, so I won't be able to do it this month, but it'll be August, and then every month after that, I will be doing that. And yeah, so that is the membership. We may add higher tiers if there's any interest in sort of, because I've had a couple people say they may be interested in like sort of coaching. I don't know if I'm like super comfortable with this new game yet to feel like I can like take money from people and coach and feel comfortable about like I'm giving them the best advice. That would maybe come later, but if that ever did come, it would be through membership. It would be some sort of like, hey, $10, $15 tier, and, you know, once a week or once a month or however, you know, the time would work. We can do a couple hour session or whatever, right? So that'll come later. That's not now. Right now, there's only 2 tiers. It's $2, $5, and then the $5 you're getting the once a month membership, super in-depth guide for a specific deck that I feel like I'm comfortable enough to make a guide for, right? Because that is really how I got better at One Piece, is reading a ton of guides, watching a ton of videos, and just stuff like that, you know. So I hope that will help some people that are interested in that. So that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Little, you know, different type of video. Kind of rambly too. I always ramble a lot, right? But hope this helped you guys in some way. And I'm really interested to hear you guys' comments. Again, if you guys are seasoned tournament players in other card games or whatever, I'd love to hear your routine. I think it's a very different, like, feeling of sitting in your room and playing for 8 hours versus going to a venue and playing in person against a bunch of people. In you know, and I definitely felt that when I played One Piece. I really love going in person, meeting new people and stuff like that. It's also fun to, like, sort of people watch and stuff like that. But, you know, for this game, we're kind of in our room or home or whatever and just sitting there grinding, which kind of goes back to, like, the stress thing and just sort of, you got to detach, you got to just have fun with it and stuff. So, yeah, all right, that's going to be the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. And my computer just went black. What in the universe? All right. See you guys later. Bye-bye.